Focusing today on building your business to build your big life. And one of the themes at Family Reunion that we've been talking about, we're now on about week 3 of talking about the information that was downloaded to us from Family Reunion, particularly on the one thing that they stressed that would help us build a big business. And one of the things that they talked about, strongly encouraged all of us to be doing and thinking about, is to build MOFIRs. So I just want to do a quick recap of what a MOFIR is. And then I have 4 people who have designed and implemented some pretty remarkable offers in their business. They're going to share with you how they thought about developing these MOFIRs and what it has been to live these out in their businesses. So just a reminder, MOFIR stands for make offer for immediate response. And as you're thinking about that in your business, what you want to start with is a problem that you are seeing. And right now, I think we can all identify inventory as a problem. Getting people to come to bring their property to market is a problem. There's just not enough. We're not seeing that spring bump yet. So we're the professionals, right? We help people understand what the market is and help them overcome that challenge. We figure out how to solve it. So when you think about how you do your business, what makes sense to you when you identify a problem and how would you solve it? You then take that solution and you package it into a program. And you guys, this is the genius part. As we're salespeople, we all handle problems all the time and we all solve problems for people all the time. But one of the things they talked about at Family Reunion is that service is a given. People want to buy into systems because then they understand they are well taken care of and they expect good care along the way. So if you have identified a problem and you have a great solution to that, now you have to figure out how to market it in such a way that it takes up mind share for your people, for your leads, such that they want to do business with you when there is business to be had. And the best way to do that is to package it into a program and then market that program to the nth degree. So you take that, you integrate your program into your business. It becomes who you are and how you show up in the world, and then you market that to everybody in your database. So build your database, tell them how you solve problems, become their go-to. So this morning we have with us 4 people. Jay, Rick, Peter, and Alex are going to join us. Janine is just part of the Jay Schmidt team and a beautiful piece of this picture here. But our 4 gentlemen here are going to dive into how they thought about problems and how they then solved them and marketed them in such a way that they built business. And you guys, as you're listening to this, what I want you to really focus on is, what are the similarities? You know, we all can identify problems. We all can identify solutions. We can all market them. So you'll hear a lot of creativity. And what my goal for you today is that this sparks creativity in your business that leads to bigger business. So, gentlemen, I'm going to stop my share here, which means our speaker is going to show up on my Zoom panel. Rick, I'm going to start with you this morning. Let me just, Rick, are you here? Okay. Oh, there you are. Hi, Rick. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for being part of our panel today.
Sure. When I saw the photo, I just want everybody to know that you don't have to be losing your hair to create a MOFIR. Coincidence and a requirement.
Yes, this is a MOFIR. We are dispelling the myths of MOFIRs. Thank you for that one. I appreciate that. And you guys, just so you know, part of our deep dive into MOFIR started actually with Charlie sharing one of the MOFIRs that Rick and his team, both Ruvin Gallagher, had begun implementing really successfully in their business. So Rick agreed to jump on and share a little bit about how he identified a problem and solved it. So Rick, why don't you start off with what problem were you looking to solve?
Yeah, so with my 5 minutes, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing, but we're a little bit different animal. So I'm going to spend half the time on what we're doing and half the time on what smaller teams or individual agents can be doing. So real quickly, the best analogy is it's like musical chairs. We've all played that where the music stops and there's too few chairs left. Well, in this market, transactions are down by a third. So picture every time the music stops, there are a third less chairs. In an environment like that, you have to differentiate yourself. The fact that we love our neighborhoods, that we're honest, that we're good negotiators, that we work real hard, like those are table stakes, that's not differentiators. So in this environment, we need to differentiate ourselves and we need to give people a reason to engage because they're sitting on the sidelines. We've had a long history of doing this, going all the way back to 2008 before our team existed, where when we saw issues in the marketplace or issues that were challenging buyers or sellers, we were creating programs around that. It really started in the Great Recession. In the Great Recession, we had a MOFIR where I co-owned 100 condos downtown. Nobody was buying condos. And we basically gave people a guarantee that if you buy a condo, you'll make money on the condo or we'll split the difference. And we used that to help work through the inventory. Today, being a large and well-capitalized team, we're able to offer some things that are helpful in the marketplace. One of them is, look, if you buy your house and for some reason, either you don't like it or you end up having to move within the next couple of years, if we can't sell that at or more than what you paid, we'll share in the downside. We take no joy in selling somebody a home that doesn't work for them or selling them a home that they thought they'd be in for 10 years that they have to turn around and sell for in a year. We also have a program where we basically guarantee people a sale price. So in essence, if we don't get that sale price, we could be working for free. And that's something that, we started to play around with long before Falk, Ruvin, Gallagher. But those are two problems that we looked at in the marketplace. But the bigger teams can do that. We can set aside the capital to take care of people, to write big checks. If somebody buys a $2 million house, we might write a check for $50,000 to get them out of that. That's not realistic for everybody. But I did give thought to MOFIRs that I can share now or circle back to, that small teams and individual agents could do to differentiate themselves, to engage with people, and to make the phone ring.
Yeah. And what I love about that, Rick, is that we all have problems at different levels and we bring what resonates to us. And you talked about how you developed this MOFIR because you had no joy in people losing money and they needed to make connections. So you took that risk off of the table. So as you all are listening, even if you are not a team the size of Rick's team, think about how you can be diminishing risk for people based on the problems that you identify and the solutions you bring to market that reflect your value. Does that make sense? Rick, did I capture that pretty closely?
Yeah, and I can circle back at the end and if I were an individual agent or a small team, some of the things that I would be doing. I'm happy to circle back at the end.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Rick, I'm going to move now to Jay. Jay has and his team have some of the similar opportunities that a Falk, Ruvin, Gallagher has, just in terms of capitalization and large financial opportunities, and they still identify the problems. It's still the same process. So Jay, would you take us through the problem that you had identified and how you thought about a solution that you could roll out and bring to your clients to help you bring business?
Sure. I think we all see that a lot of companies, there's money to be made in the real estate business. Real estate commissions are large. So you've got Zillow trying to get their hand in the pie. But what really concerned me was when you see these commercials for, we buy ugly houses or sell your house with no hassle, no showings, no anything, no negotiation. Well, yeah, that's a business model where they're going to take advantage of someone in a situation. And it could be a drastic situation, or it could be a simple situation where they feel their house is dated and needs work and don't know which way to go. So the team and I have been lucky enough to help 5 people through our equity experts program, where we'll go through the house, give them a price as is, and then we will give them a price after we make some improvements and renovations, to then let them decide which way to go. We front the money through the equity experts program and get paid outside of closing. And it really kind of comes back to our team's model of, it is our pleasure to serve the client, and our focus is on them to build their wealth the best way possible.
And so Jay, that's called your equity experts program. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So the problem that you were identifying was that people were unsure of whether they were going to move or not, and unsure of the amount of time and effort they wanted to put in their home for their sale.
Or even more drastically, the first one that we really did in a big way, actually 2, there was a woman in West Dallas that her property was her estate plan. It was her money for retirement. She'd gotten midway into a project and had reached out to one of those "we'll buy your house" type programs, and was given, and Stephanie Miller and I worked on it. I think she was given a number under $100,000. We came in, we spent, was it 26,000, I think, and ended up turning around and selling it for 180. Numbers are slightly off there, but we put almost $100,000 more into her pocket at the end of the transaction. We did the same thing for a family in Shorewood, beloved teacher. House needed some work. We gutted the kitchen, touched every surface of the house, flooring, paint, and I think we tripled her money back on what the investment was.
Awesome. Jay, talk about how you named it. How did you name that?
Well, I'm in real estate for my love of flipping houses. So it all comes down to, for me, a real estate transaction is a business transaction. Now, obviously, there's a lot of emotion involved in that, from people selling their home or family home. But really, our job is to protect that client's equity. And for most Americans, the equity in their home is their largest form of wealth building. So I don't take that role in the transaction lightly. We do it well, they win. If we make an error or make a misstep or don't pick up our phone timely and respond quickly, that can cost the seller tens of thousands of dollars. So I think the Equity Experts program hammers back to what our team's motto is, which is to serve our client and get them the best result.
I love that. And then tell me how you market that.
What's funny is, after a family reunion, the effort of marketing the MOFIR, we aren't doing a great job of that. Actually, our leadership team has a meeting on Friday to kind of create our plan, and it's going to be bigger than just that person that needs to fix a bad house. There's plenty of sellers out there that would benefit from hiring our team to get them the best results. So we're gonna do some additional work, thanks to what family reunion kind of put in front of us.
Yeah, and I think you guys, as we think about that, that's a piece, as I've talked to people who are developing MOFIRs, they don't realize, because we live it every day, they kind of don't realize how special that is. And if you put a name on it and market it, more people kind of perk up and pay attention. You can get a lot more traction when you do that. So tell me, Jay, what kind of, you shared 2 different really strong results already. Are you seeing consistent results as you bring it out? And is it solving the problem that you anticipated it would solve for you?
Absolutely. We just finished a pretty big project in West Dallas. Every time the seller is blown away by it. And right now, I think we're just about to sign the contract with the seller. We're going to renovate the whole 2nd floor and add a primary suite and a full bath, and can't wait.
Love that. Love
I
that.
have one question.
Oh, we have a question from the floor. Hold on.
AJ, so do you consider that more needs-based, or will you do that for anyone that wants to use your services now?
Yeah. So the question was, is that a needs-based program opt-in, or is that for anyone who kind of would be interested in participating?
We do look at it a case by case basis, but if you want us to put our money where our mouth is, with pleasure. It's easy to tell someone what they should do. It's a lot harder to be the one to do it. So when we meet with a seller, we give the options. You want to do it yourself? Do you want us to manage the project, or do you want us to fund it? And whichever one works best for that seller, we will.
And then what, if you have advice for people, agents who are thinking about implementing MOFIRs into their own business, what would you share?
Go back and watch the family reunion information on MOFIR, and really don't try to create something based on what someone else is doing. Create your MOFIR based on who you are and what your business is about. And, like I would use Holly, Speranza, her team, her MOFIR is all about investing. So how is she going to create a message with her business on how to build their wealth through either buying or selling investment property? Completely different than us, completely different than other people. So really figure out what your core business is about and create the message around that. Don't force something that's not there, and stop trying to force sellers into selling when 71% of people have an interest rate below 4%. I see all these posts on social media, getting cutesy about, why you should buy at this time. Focus on the buyers and sellers that have to buy and sell. We always say it's unfortunately death, divorce, downsize, or relocation. Plain and simple. Stop pushing a rock up a hill and convincing someone. If they've got, I've got under 4% interest rate on my house, why the heck would I sell if I don't have a pain or need?
Yep. And MOFIR, make opportunity for immediate response, is part of finding the motivated, right? And you just listed all of those motivations that are active in the marketplace right now. Yep. So thank you, Jay. I appreciate your insights. We're going to move on to Alex. Alex, are you with us? Dinamarca is out of our. Awesome. Wonderful.
Yep. My Wi-Fi is a little shady, but I'll try to do my best here.
Okay, I think you're going to pop up on the screen soon. Alex is out of the Southwest Market Center and has developed a MOFIR that he's going to. Alex, tell us what is your MOFIR?
So in my past couple listings, I came across the sellers. They were wondering, when you do open houses, you kind of want them gone for the full weekend, so you can basically open it up to everybody coming through. But then you get texts like, "Oh, can I stop home? What time do you think you'll be done with showing?" So to make things easier for everybody, I come up with a MOFIR. Basically, I pay for a weekend at a nice hotel in town, downtown or in Waukesha, for them to just kind of get away for the weekend and not have to worry about when they got to be home. So basically they trusted me to take care of the home, lock it up at night, and basically just get away and have a stress-free weekend while I do all the business of open houses, allowing showings, that kind of thing.
Nice.
So
nice. So it sounds to me as if you've solved a handful of problems, and one of them is, how do I make my new listing available to multiple people at the same time? So you've made it, in effect, a go and show. You've released some of the anxiety for your people. You've lowered their risk and given them a nice, relaxing time away in the middle of what can be a very stressful process.
Right. Just put everything on me.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. So tell me, did you name it, and how are you marketing it?
I didn't really name it, other than I am doing it just in the spring right now. So it's my spring promotion. I have marketed it to my Facebook group. I have a group just for past clients and forever friends. I have also I sent out magnets with the Milwaukee Festival events calendar. So I put a flyer in there for that. And then I did have flyers available at the Home and Garden Show when I was there a couple Fridays ago. So started, I haven't any responses yet, but you know, it's just another touch for my people.
For sure, I love that. And as you think about other agents looking at their business and your experience implementing your MOFIR, what advice would you have for people?
I think I would say just try to get a little creative and also listen to what other people are doing and maybe some opportunities they have, you know, just try to find a solution that is a little bit more unique.
I love that. I love that. I love the identifying the problem. And I mean, there can be problems, as we've heard, equity, big gaps, helping people understand and kind of face their fear of taking a move. And then all the way to how do we help this? How do we help the details work for you? So there's so much room to be creative in MOFIRs and to implement and help them build your business. The other thing I'm thinking, and I'm going to circle back to all of you, is that it sounds like these opportunities are giving your clients really great experiences, which means repeat referral business just goes up, right? So we talk about listings having babies. I think we can also think about MOFIRs generating more than just a solution to one problem, right? So Alex, I appreciate your time and your insights into the MOFIR world here. And I'm going to bring our last guest on here, Peter. Peter has a handful of MOFIRs that he's been working with, but last night we chatted about one that's working particularly well for him. So Peter, what is your MOFIR?
We've all heard of the golden letter. My MOFIR is the magic text. This one went out last spring. The first one I'm going to share. The problem is there's no inventory, right? And there hasn't been enough inventory for the buyers. I shouldn't say no inventory. There's not enough. There's not enough people willing to sell to match the demand for the people that are willing to buy. So how do we solve that? We do that by trying to identify the motivated. And as you started the meeting off, Diana, finding a way to reach many people at once. And what we do is use Hit 'em Up. That's not the Tupac rap. That's an app that allows you to send multiple texts from your number. So I can send this out. My sphere recognizes it's from me. Nothing wrong with Twilio, but there's a question with that. So this comes from me, and you can use the app. It has variable data fields, and so you can say, "Hey, Katie," and then you're just able to send your message. So what we did last spring, when the market was still crazy, greetings blank. As you are probably aware, the spring seller's market is still crazy. Right now, homes are selling quickly and for the highest prices ever. What is your magic number at which you would sell your home to take advantage of the buyer frenzy? So that's where the magic text comes in. I got a response from a guy. He said 500. I said, all right, send me your address. Let me do some testing. To make the longer story shorter, we took him to market at 569. A buyer saw my yard sign, called me. I referred that buyer to a team member. We got a full offer. And as the team, some people call that double popping. We don't call that double popping at the Gohsman Group. That's a double Pete. So that has to be adapted a little bit now for this market, right? Because as Jay said, with the situation now, real estate in our recent experience is going to be life event driven. One of the things that I'm seeing from my sphere is people trying to move on so that they can get closer to their grandkids. So that one script that I'm going to be using now in this market is, hey, Katie, the market is still hot. I can sell your home quickly and give you time to find your next home. What is your magic number at which you would sell your home to take advantage of this market? One of the things that we always have been hearing, and this kind of goes into the MOFIR, well, yeah, I'd sell my house, but where am I going to go? We're working a situation now where we took a property to market in early March, sold it in 3 days, had a 45-day closing, and then negotiated 30 days post-close occupancy. So they've got almost 2 months. They've got the cash ready. or they've got a situation where, a home sale contingency is not necessary. So it gives them some comfort in knowing that they're going to have time to find their next home.
Love that. I love that. And as you think about it, you're identifying problems. So in that, when we think about that text, the problem that you're looking to solve is for your clients or potential clients is this idea that they twofold, right? They're not going to make enough money on their house. What could I possibly get for my house? And can we do that? You're answering that really quickly. And the other is we can give you time to find the next piece. Is that correct? Those two pieces?
Yeah, and the fun thing is that people usually have an idea of what their house is worth. And in my case and with my sphere, it's usually a little bit low because they don't realize what's going on with the market. So I can give them a reasonable, good number based on data, and they can sell their home. They can take advantage of the equity that they've built up. Now we have to kind of fine tune the group. Hit them up allows you to select people from your database. In my case, I'm going to be looking at people in my sphere who I know are empty nesters, got kids graduating from high school this coming, spring, whatever that might be. Our other team members are going to be having people in their spheres who just had another kid and the house is too small. So identifying people who are going to be likely to move or need to move rather than the blanket that worked last spring, we've got to be a little bit more narrowly focused. So you can hit them up, allows you to set up groups just based on the people that you want to touch.
Yeah. So for your sake too, you found a tool that makes that super easy, which I love about that. So it sounds to me, Peter, as if you have not named this. This is perhaps a more formal or informal MOFIR, right? It's just something that you do that's identified a problem and you go out to help people understand, educate, and hopefully convert quickly into a client of yours.
Yeah, this is going out to sphere, people that we've touched, to our Mets. And we call it the magic text, and we use magic in the script. There's the message out is scripted, and we use that magic number. What's the magic number at which you would sell your house?
Got it. Love that. So you guys, when you're hearing these very different MOFIRs, right? I want you to think about your business. What makes sense? What problem are you hitting up against? How can you solve it in a way that makes the most sense for you and generates business? Peter, let me ask you, what suggestion would you have for people who are thinking about integrating MOFIRs into their business?
Well, what Jay said it before, don't try to force people to sell because they're not gonna. 70% of the homes that have a mortgage in the Southeast of Wisconsin are at 4% or less. It's got to be lifestyle driven. So we've got to try to identify people that might be closer to a need to sell so that we can fill that need, so we can come from service.
Okay, I love that.
In my case, people that are going to be downsizing, maybe looking for a second home, because my sphere is different than Pete's sphere or Katie's sphere. Katie has a sphere of kids with 8-year-olds and 5-year-olds. Those people are building families. They're looking to move up. Pete's got people in that middle range, people looking to move up, maybe people looking at, changing jobs or getting into a different school system. So try to look at your sphere, try to look at your database and identify groups of people where that are likely to have a need.
Okay. And as we're talking about this, I'm going to bring Rick back in just to kind of tie a bow on this. As you're hearing the different types of MOFIRs, Rick, and thinking about different MOFIRs that would be valuable to different levels of productivity, why don't you share your reflections and thoughts on that for us?
Sure, thank you. A couple things. Number one, 3 of the 4 required expenditures, and not all MOFIRs require expenditures. And in particular, I think Jay Schmidt's team and Falk, Ruvin, Gallagher, we try to innovate and we try to put our money where our mouth is, and everyone will get there at some point. But don't feel like you have to have something as robust, number one. Number two, understand that MOFIR, make an offer for immediate response. You're not going to get that many immediate responses in the beginning. It has to kind of permeate through the marketplace. So I think a lot of people that try this assume that you're going to get you get inundated with responses. We've been at our home value protection program for a couple months, and it really took, until last week, we had 2 deals come together specifically because of that. So it does take time. And then I tried to think of some things that you could offer to differentiate yourself, to engage with people, that don't cost money, but that would be interesting. And everybody needs to kind of pick their own, because if everybody does the same thing, then there's no differentiation. But some things that I would do if I were an individual agent or a small team, I would go out there and say, hey, I'll provide you a remodeling ROI. If you're contemplating doing a kitchen or an addition or a basement, I'll take a look at the plans and I'll tell you what your house is likely to be worth when it's done. And that way you can decide if you want to do it or not. Like, we've done that for years, never as a MOFIR, but I'll tell you, most of those people years later called us and said we were so appreciative. So that would be, and then they've worked with us. That would be one. Another one would be, we offer a free curb appeal study where we can come in and talk about the types of things to make your home more attractive when that time comes. And we understand it might not be this spring, but hey, at a minimum, we've made your house more valuable and the neighborhood prettier. A paint color suggestion MOFIR. There are a lot of really creative, stylish people at Keller Williams. You could go out there and say, hey, before you, paint your wall agreeable gray, like, we'll come in and we can do a color study with you. And they're just ways to engage with people and get into their homes. Rent versus own analysis. There are a lot of people on the sidelines right now that are renters that should be buyers, especially if they have a long horizon. Most of those people haven't seen a rent versus own analysis. It would be great to go out with that. You could do tours of a neighborhood MOFIR. I mean, that's something that is just like low-hanging fruit. If you're a Wauwatosa person, you've lived there your whole life, you could do walking tours, biking tours, driving tours. Like, there are all sorts of things that you can do to put yourself out there, to ingratiate yourself with people. They don't all have to be these big, robust, expensive programs. You just have to put a name on them. You have to get it out there. And if you do so, people will start to see you differently. And don't give up. It's going to take at least 3 months to see the results. But once you become synonymous with something, it's very powerful.
Oh, I love that. That's a great way to wrap this up, just in terms of your thinking. There's so much creativity that you can bring to this, and just have it reflect who you are and how you're out in the marketplace. One of the things that we hear as we're talking amongst the crowds about MOFIRs is just the opportunity to be really strategic. So think about how you want to run out to market. I do want to share where you can find this information online. So as you all remember, we have this KW Milwaukee Drive. There is a link at the very bottom, Family Reunion 2023. If you click there, you'll see family reunion videos and Charge the Storm. So Jay recommended you dive into this to understand MOFIRs a little bit better and thinking around this. I would encourage this when you watch this, think about what Rick had shared, just in terms of the creativity you can bring and the kind of result that you want. And get out there and play in your MOFIRs, you guys. I think this has been invaluable. Thank you, panelists, for sharing your insight and how this works for you. I appreciate your time and energy around this. One of